Eddie Gallagher found himself in a bit of trouble.
Back in 2019, I was charged with war crimes,
as he was wrongfully accused of so many horrible things.
I sat in pretrial confinement for about 9 months before my actual trial.
In his weakest and most vulnerable time in need, he is sitting in the brig while his brother is walking those very halls of Congress that I was walking during that same time.
My wife, Andrea, and brother, Sean, along with a certain group of teammates that I had, were doing everything they could to garner support, to get the truth out about what was going on with me, to expose all the lies and corruption around the UCMJ and everything they were doing to put me away for life.
They went to Congressman Dan Crenshaw and he was ignored, as I was too when I was trying to pass veteran legislation.
My brother ended up talking to his staff a couple times. They gave him the runaround, but that did not stop him. He kept going back and finally got a hold of Dan. Dan told him he wanted to wait till the situation developed before he made a decision, which, got it, that makes sense. Some of my teammates who were on that deployment, who were on the ground the day of the incident, went to one of Crenshaw's fundraising parties, pulled him aside and spoke to him face to face, told him what was happening to me was complete BS, that it was chock full of lies, and that I was getting screwed over. Dan told them he'll see what he can do. Once my brother got a hold of him a second time, Dan said that there wasn't enough information or whatever. My brother got pretty frustrated, ended up sending Dan a semi-scathing email. Dan replied to him and said that he would see what he could do.
They had gotten a letter that 50 congressional members had signed on, asking for his immediate release so he could prepare for trial. But Congressman Dan Crenshaw didn't sign on to that letter.
One congressman would not sign that petition. That was Dan Crenshaw.
Additionally, he took action to try to keep him locked up for even longer.
Instead, he decided to write his own petition and pretty much say to keep me in prison, but just to let me see my lawyers, which were rights I should have already had in the first place.
He didn't want any visitors. The only people that can come see you are your own attorneys. What type of retired U.S. Navy SEAL would leave your fellow brother in arms out to hang?
I was pulled aside by multiple congressmen and was told that Dan Crenshaw was actively working against me behind the scenes. He was going up to each of those congressmen who were supporting me, telling them not to support me, that I was guilty, and that it was his community and they needed to butt out and let him handle it. Knowing the full well the truth about what was really going on, still went and tried to get people not to support me and pretty much try and put me away for life without parole. The way I look at that is Dan was trying to kill me. This is from Crenshaw to Goggins. Like you, I've been in the public eye since about 2018 and understand very well how people will climb over your back to get higher, get more clicks, and get a little more famous. Pieces of shit like Eddie Gallagher have tried to do that at my expense after I tried helping him get out of prison. He is telling Goggins that he tried helping me get out of prison. Again, this man can't stop lying. He'll say whatever it takes to get people on his side and then do the opposite behind the scenes. This has been a repeating pattern of his since he's been in office.
My case caused probably the biggest rift in the Naval Special Warfare community ever.
These higher ranking officials put all their faith, trust, and confidence into this scuttlebutt, which blew up into something that spiraled out of complete control. They testified against you, and even if they thought that they were wrong, they could not prove it because they had put all their chips in with those accusations.
If they're going to do this to someone like me, then what's going to stop them from doing it to another enlisted man?
This is the Today with Tally podcast.